Sally Green, and this is Crash Talks About History. And we are going to talk about the lovely Ottoman today. How coincidental that we're talking about Ottas when it's snowing outside. Because snow is water, and Ottas live in water.
Actually, it's Crash Course World History, and we'll be talking about the Ottomans, not the Ottoman, whatever they are. Anyways, back to the Ottomans, the Ottoman Empire.
Mr. Green! So we are in no way talking about otters?
See what you've done, Sally.
Oh well, just get on with your show.
Right. So according to Kaplan AP World History, shout out to Kaplan. The empire was a long empire that lasted from around 1300 to 1923.
That's a lot of years with otters.
So, Sally, quite with the otters. Anyways, the Ottoman Empire was ruled by these people called sultans, such as Suleiman and Mahmud. And after those pesky Mongols declined, the Ottomans became the strongest force in the Middle East. Kind of like if you and your older sister have to share the control over your brother, but if your sister dies, you get all the power. Then after capturing the Byzantine capital called Constantinople in the year 1423...
Constantinople, you can go back to Constantinople, been a long time gone. Constantinople, when a Constantinople get the works. That's no one is this about the church.
Right, and basically the empire peaked in the 16th century, but then came crashing down like a large boy on a roller coaster. Oh yeah, that was nice. So now it's time to transition to the textbook version of the Ottomans.
Ooh, otters!
No, Ottoman. So the Ottomans were an Islamic empire, and they ruled a powerful empire that spread from its start in Anatolia to Eastern Europe,
Woo!
Egypt,
Woo!
and North Africa.
We're Ottomans!
And these Ottoman were challenged by the Safavids. The Ottoman people came from nomadic Turkish-speaking peoples of Central Asia who conquered Anatolia. Then they adapted the conquered areas by picking up things such as gunpowder weapons, resulting in a very intimidating army. The Ottomans officially allowed and embraced Islam. Islam! Wow, it's time for the open letter already. Basically all we've said is that the Ottoman Empire was long, was challenged by the Safavids, peaked at a downfall, was widespread, was Islamic, and they adapted gunpowder. Wow, that's a lot. Wow, it's a letter to Osman Bey. Osman, you should feel pretty accomplished because an entire empire was named after you. After all, the term Ottoman derives from Osman. Plus, you founded a dynasty that was unusually successful. So here's the story for all of you who are out of the loop.
I thought you'd never get to that.
So there was this man named Osman. And Osman and all of his followers desperately sought to become Ghazi, our Muslim religious warriors. Which, before you ask, are not ninjas. And this empire began as just a small warrior principality in the frontiers. Their location, however, aided them because it gave them many opportunities to engage a holy war. Their first great success came in the year 1326. You can ask your teacher about that one. Because, judging on his lack of hair, he was obviously alive back then. So the first great success, that was when the Ottomans captured the city named Bursa, which is in Anatolia. Bursa soon became the Ottoman Principality. Then in 1352 they established a spot in Europe. Then they seized the fortress of Gallipoli.
Gally what? Who's Gally? Is she related to Dolly? Like Pipple? Or the actress lady?
Gosh, you're worse than Stan. Anyways, they captured this fortress and the city of Edirne became the Ottoman's second capital, and actually it served as a spot that would help them expand into the Balkans. Now for the good stuff, war. No, just kidding, but really though. The Ottomans had a strong but unique military. Not that kind of military. Here's the deal. The Ottoman military leaders started off by organizing the Ghazi recruits into two forces, a light cavalry and a volunteer infantry. Soon a professional cavalry was added, and they had heavy armor. Then after they expanded, they created a really important force composed of slaves.
Ooh, slaves!
Then, through an institution called a Devshirme, that's D-E-V-S-H-I-R-M-E, the Ottomans forced the Christians in the Balkans to contribute young boys to become slaves of the Sultan. Then, according to the ability, they entered either the civilian administration or the military.
Civil administration. Military.
Yay!
Those who became soldiers were called Janissaries, which derived from the Turkish Yeni Cheri, meaning new troops. These Janissaries soon had a reputation for excript de corps, or loyalty to the Sultan. After Sultan Muhammad conquered Constantinople, he claimed to be a warrior and the true emperor. He said that he was the ruler of the 2 lands and 2 seas, which is a big deal. It's kind of like how Coach Hayes and how he claims to be the ruler of teaching and soccer, except Coach Hayes is bald and still alive. It was Muhammad who laid the foundation for the tightly centralized absolute monarchy of the Ottoman Empire. This Muhammad guy completed the quest of Siberia, moved into southern Greece and Albania, eliminated the last Byzantine outposts at Trebizond, captured Genoese ports in Crimea, initiated a naval war with Venice in the Mediterranean, and reportedly hoped to cross the Straits of Otranto. Wow, that's a mouthful. Muhammad was a very busy man, which probably resulted in stress, but he managed to keep his hair. Now, Ottoman imperialism climaxed in the reign of Suleiman the Magnificent. Suleiman...
Why can't you be magnificent? Doesn't John the Magnificent have a ring to it? Too bad you're nothing but a loser. I should have married the Sultan.
As I was saying, Suleiman promoted expansion in Southwest Asia and Europe. In 1534, he conquered Baghdad and added the Tigris and Euphrates valleys to the Ottoman domain. In Europe, he kept the rival Habsburg Empire on the defensive throughout his reign. He captured Belgrade in 1521, defeated and killed the King of Hungary at the Battle of Mohawks in 1526, and consolidated Ottoman power north of the Danube, and in 1523 subjected the Habsburgs' prized city of Vienna to a brief but terrifying siege. The empire also became a major naval power. The Safavids' blend of Shiism and Turkish military allowed for a unique identity, but it created enemies like Sunni Ottomans, and as soon as Selim the Grim...
Ooh, I'm glad you're not a Grim. Grims are scary.
I'm a Safavid!
Anyways, so Selim the Grim launched a persecution for a full-scale invasion of Safavid territory. At the Battle of the Plain of Calderon, the Ottomans used heavy artillery and thousands of Janissaries used firearms behind a barrier of carts. Even though the Safavids knew about gunpowder technology and had access to the firearms, they did not use devices they saw as unreliable and unmanly. The Kizilbash cavalry fearlessly attacked the Ottoman line and faced devastating consequences. The Ottomans temporarily occupied their capital at Tabriz and badly damaged the Safavid state but lacked the resources to destroy it completely. Like the Mughal and Safavid empires, the Ottoman Empire relied on a bureaucracy and embraced many different religious and ethnic groups. Rulers wanted to add legitimacy to their reign by providing for public welfare and associating themselves with literary, artistic talent. In terms of autocratic authority, the Ottoman sultans issued many legal edicts. The greatest of these were many kanun, meaning laws, issued by Suleiman, or as Europeans called him, Suleiman the Magnificent. But the Ottomans referred to him as Suleiman Kanuni, meaning the lawgiver. This is kind of like when a teacher gives you a project with tons of rules to follow. In this case, it is Coach Hayes Kanuni, which means he is the lawgiver.
Ooh, John, tell him about the concession problems. I'm getting a little hungry.
Actually, we're going to talk about succession problems. In the beginning, the Ottomans assigned provinces for each of the Sultan's sons to control and govern, but keep the empire unified. After the 15th century, however, the Sultans started to protect their position by killing family rivals. In fact, Muhammad the Conqueror said that a ruler could legally kill his brothers after he took the throne. Talk about barbaric. Then, in 1595, that rule was put out of use when a new Sultan killed 19 brothers and 15 expected mothers. So after that incident, the Sultans forced their son into special quarters of the house, forbidding them to go outside. You know, Sally, it's a good thing you're my favorite wife, else you might be killed for showing this much power.
Huh?
Well, oftentimes in Islamic empires, the ruler's chief wife received special privileges and authority. Ottoman courtiers often complained about the rule of women, meaning women actually did occasionally have some power. Let's look at an example. Suleiman the Magnificent became infatuated with a woman named Harem Sultana. He soon elevated her to a position of a legal wife, consulted her on state policies, and used her judgment even to the point of executing his eldest son for treason when Harem wanted him eliminated to secure the future position of her own son. So basically, agricultural economies were the foundation of the Ottoman Empire and its other counterparts. They mostly relied on wheat and rice that had been growing for centuries, but the Columbian Exchange brought new American crops. For example, tomatoes were added to dishes throughout the Ottoman Empire. The Columbian Exchange also encouraged consumption of coffee and tobacco. According to Ottoman historian Abraham Pachevi, English merchants introduced tobacco around 1600, claiming it was useful in the medical field.
Hurry up, John. We're behind schedule. Coach Hayes is going to start knocking off points.
Okay.
Get to the point.
Okay, time for the speed round. So basically, the Ottomans' early capital at Bursa was also the terminus for a caravan route that brought raw silk to supply the Italian markets. The Ottomans also allowed special trading concessions to English and French merchants in order to cement alliances. Those sneaky Ottomans. The Ottoman Empire also included numbers of Christians and Jews, so they had to use a long-established model to deal with the non-Muslim subjects. Instead of forcing the conquered people to convert, they extended them the status of protected people, or dhimmi. That's D-H-I-M-M-I. And in return for their loyalty and payment, a special e-tax known as jizya, J-I-Z-Y-A, dhimmi communities had the right to retain their personal freedom in the Ottoman Empire. The Ottoman religious communities known as millet, M-I-L-L-E-T, retain their own civil laws and traditions and languages. That means they could move desks if they wanted to. Right, Coach Hayes? How cool is that? Now for one of my favorite topics, architecture.
That's got to be the lamest possible topic.
Actually, it's really interesting. The Ottomans pulled a complete house makeover on Istanbul. Talk about old school HGTV. Istanbul was dilapidated and deserted after the conquest, but it quickly was revived. At its heart was the great Topkapi Palace, which housed government officials, such as Mint, and meeting palaces for imperial councils. At its center was the gardens and pleasure pavilions. Sultan Suleiman the Magnificent was able to use the architectural genius Sinan Pasha to create the most celebrated monument in Istanbul, called the Suleimani.
Ooh, John, can we get a garden and hire an architect?
Let's transition away from that question into the conversation about empires in transition. By the year 1700, the Ottomans began playing what soccer players like to call defense. Right, Coach Hayes? The Sultans lost control over provinces such as Lebanon and Egypt, and throughout the 18th and 19th centuries, European and Russian states placed many pressures on the ever-shrinking Ottoman Empire.
Shrinking Ottomans?
So what did the Ottomans do to solve this problem? Well, nothing successful. They first confined the princes in the palace, but that had a few negative effects. The princes were never able to gain experience, but were instead exposed to scandalous parts of the government. This resulted in problematic sultans such as Selim the Sot and Vince the Crazy. Oh wait, did I say Vince? My bad. It's Ibram the Crazy. Anyways, these messed up sultans taxed the population and spent so much money. They were murdered. Then, after the 17th century, weak rule caused mutinies in the army, revolts, corruption, economic oppression, and, worst of all, So, political troubles often came from religious tension. For example, when religious students became disaffected, they often joined the Janissaries in revolt, one serious revolt being the Wahhabi movement, which is not to be confused with wasabi. Remember, Wahhabi, not wasabi. Wahhabi, not wasabi. Lastly, Ottoman geographers were very interested in European knowledge. For example, the Ottoman admiral and cartographer Piri Reis produced several large-scale maps and made on a major text called the Book of Seafaring. Be sure to check that one out, boys and girls. Well, that pretty much sums it up. Please do me a favor and thank the bald guy sitting in front of you. Haze for days! We'd also like to thank our amazing cast. And Alyssa Evelyn playing my not-so-intelligent wife. We had Kate Costel and Imani Matos featured in our thought bubbles and various clips. And I played the one and only John Green. Be sure to catch our sequel titled The Beginnings of Hair Loss. It premieres next Tuesday. That's for you, Coach Hayes.
Mr. Green! Mr. Green! Are we gonna have a quiz on this?
Why, yes. Yes, we are.